Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Now originally I will be posting my Peter Parker Spider-Man review from Into the Spider-Verse, but a couple of days back I got this figure here, and we'll come in close, but not with that head sculpt. No, the head sculpt that came with this figure is the one on the left, and the one on the right actually belongs with this figure. Follow me so far? But this head sculpt actually came with this figure. So while I was doing the head sculpt changes on my last review, I came up with that look. I didn't spend much time on it, but I am today, because I was so into it, the idea of it, I decided I'd give him his own solo spot. So that's what I'm going to do. As for this guy, I've added this diorama to the figure. I was going to put him on that one, that diorama, but he looks better on this, and pose him out this way for the foreseeable future, because since changing over the head sculpt to this one, I do like this look, and the whole thing looks good. So I'll put him on this diorama. I'm currently filming from the kitchen, and that's where he's going to be. And he's going to be next to Wolverine, but not looking like this. This is just a solo review. He's going to have on the helmeted head sculpt, as opposed to that one, which I love, but that pose with that head sculpt on the right I will be doing in the next couple of months. But I just want to get used to the helmet one, because I've only just acquired the figure. So on that note, we'll take Wolverine off and leave Logan on, and show you a few poses. So this is basically the same pose as you've just seen of Wolverine, but I've just turned his head onto the side where his machine gun weapon is being held, and I quite like that. Liking this more and more, because it feels like I need to go and get another figure of World War II Logan and pose him with this image, which I really love. And you can make out the satchel there. You can take that off, as I said before, you don't have to have it on. Probably easier to take it off when it comes to posing the weapons, because it's a little bit bulky. But let's find him in another pose as I change out the dynamics. So this is a slightly different one, and I like it. We're beginning to see more of Wolverine, and there's the claws are out on that side of the body. Obviously I've changed out the gripping hand. Let's come around. I won't do much of this stuff because I'm going to turn him sideways on. I do like that, so let's turn him sideways on. So I like him sideways on because what I've tried to imagine is that in that pose he's leading a unit, a squadron, into enemy lines, deep behind enemy lines, and as he's walking through the brush, he clenches his fist as if to say hold position, but then his claws come out at the same time. So that was what was in my mind, so I really like that. And now I'm not going to put him back in my display like this, but it's very hard not to do it because it just looks good on camera. Okay, let's change it up a bit. And I really like this one because it's him down to basics. The claws are out and that knife is out, which is stationed down there, as you can see. And I do like that. God, it's hard to put back the original head sculpt when you see him like this. And again, part of my imagination is he's serving in the Second World War, and it is beginnings of S.H.I.E.L.D. and only a couple of people know about the fact that he's a mutant. And then in certain cases, like with Captain America, the first Avenger, he's sent behind enemy lines and he doesn't want the rest of the unit to know who he is, so he has to wear the mask. I don't know what the origins of the mask would be in the Second World War, but that's what I'm going for, and I really like it, like every part of it. So far I'm liking him with the machine gun anyway, but this is a nice one. So I'm going to put that sideways on and see what that looks like. Another nice one. Just drop the arms down by the side and it looks alright, That's why I love posing so much, when you can get things like this on camera and have fun with it. And I like that. They should make a film like they did with Captain America, the first Avenger. Go back to doing first X-Men movie, and that being Wolverine. And he's serving in the Second World War at the beginnings of S.H.I.E.L.D. coming together with Howard Stark. Yeah. So, let's move it on from that. So this is the one that surprised me the most, because it was just something that randomly came out of my head. And so this particular weapon, we're coming round to the side, is a bazooka, and that weapon actually comes off my Deadpool figure. I don't know if I've reviewed him with this weapon, but that's where he comes from. And right there, I've made the ultimate sacrifice, because on that weapon, when Deadpool had it, was a red boxing glove, and I was going to pull it off, but it was sort of glued in. But I thought I enjoyed this look so much, I've technically broken it, but this weapon's going to stay with Wolverine now, because I think it's a good addition to the figure. And it's a pity he didn't have a few more weapons with him when he came. He had the machine gun, and that's about it, and the knife. But the more Second World War weapons this figure has, the better it looks. And you can pose him with one weapon, and then you can pose him with one of his claw hands in, which is what you're going to see now. So just hold on a sec while I just change out his hand. Just before we change out his hand, I forgot this shot. I've turned him sort of square on, so you can see a lot more of the weapon he's holding. Quite like that that view of him. And I'm very happy that I kept him with that diorama. I might have mentioned it, it was originally the diorama that came with my comic book Hulk, but I've had various figures on there, from Captain America to Vision to Falcon. Yeah, I'm seriously considering going to get another Logan, so I can put back the head sculpts I'm going to pose this figure with. But just to get that figure with that head, for me, is the business. So let's put in one of the claws. So yeah, I've kept it squared on to begin with. I don't normally do that. Normally is my second shot when I'm doing the figure, but this is the one I started with, and I like that. And he's got the claws out, ready to go. What I've enjoyed doing on camera with this figure actually is filming him with his gripping hand and his trigger hand in, holding the weapon. like I did with the machine gun. He's holding the weapon with both the gripping hand and the trigger hand, and then I've posed him afterwards with one of his claw hands out, and I like this combination of the two. Claw hand out holding a weapon, be it the machine gun or the knife or the bazooka. So let's pause that one. Pleased with all of them so far. So that's him coming straight on, and that's the way normally I've started this bit, but I've left this as the last segment, and very happy with that. Very happy. Okay, nearly coming to the end on this one, and I'm very happy with everything that I've seen on film. But let's start to wind it down. So, this is how we want to see Wolverine. Both claws are out, he's dropped the weapons, and he's ready to carve out a few niches on his kill belt, or notches on his kill belt, and I like that. I really do. So I'm going to do a few poses of him on this diorama, and then whatever pose I use at the end of this review, it will go into my display, but unfortunately not with that mask on, but with one of the one of the head sculpts I've got, the helmeted one, or the, well actually I'll show at the end, saves all the hassle of chatting about it. Right, let's change it out. That's not bad. Opened them out a little bit. Not bad. I think I mentioned it before a few times, where his feet are, there are pegs, but I think the holes are a little bit small on his feet, so it's kind of hard to push them in there. But so far the thing hasn't fallen down, so let's go for another one. That's not too bad. Tilted the head down a little bit. Try to cross over those claws. Could get it better, but I kind of wanted to rush it a little bit. Let's pause that then and see another. And that's not a bad one. Raised up his hands, uncrossed his arms. So you've got a defensive posture there. Let's turn it sideways on and see what that looks like. So yeah, it was okay, but I thought it didn't look quite right. So that arm there has been extended outwards. That one has been tilted down a little bit, but I like it. Yeah, I do. Okay. Well, actually, I think I've done as much as I want to do, because it was about seeing him in the different poses with that mask on there, which I like. So what I'll do is I'll pose him out one last time with the head sculpt I'm going to use for the figure, and leave it there. So guys, I've really enjoyed posing out the alternate version of Wolverine in his World War II fatigues, but this is how I'm gonna pose this figure now. And I've posed him with that angry helmet face on, and I like it. And I like the fact now I've decided to use that head sculpt. I've explained it, so I won't go into it again. And this was the head sculpt that was on my Wolverine figure, and the other head sculpt that came with this figure here has been put onto my Wolverine figures, which you've seen on camera today. But I like that. And I'm going to turn it sideways on and call it a day. So guys, this is it, the final one. And I quite like that. Coming in close. It's a nice one. Let's come in close again, because he's going into my display in the kitchen area where I'm filming, and I'm going to keep him next to yellow suited Wolverine with his new head sculpt on. I like that side, that's good. And in the future I might keep him in this pose and put him in with the new head sculpt, that one, because they're very similar to the one that came with this figure originally. So on that note, and I think I mentioned it before, that helmet thing, it actually came with my Blade figure as part of Builder figure, and that's his head, and he's called the Mindless one. But I'm never going to build that figure, even though it looked good from what I've seen on the box. It's just a prop to aid in filming. So, hope you enjoyed the Wolverine look in the Second World War fatigues. It'd be interesting though if a big company decides to make a kind of hot toy of it and have him with the mask with that look. And then obviously you can either go for that as a head sculpt, or you could even put Hugh Jackman's head in as a head sculpt. And if someone's done it already, make a comment to me and I'll try and find it and look at it, but I've never seen it. So anyway, I've enjoyed this. I've enjoyed posing Peter Parker previously to this. So I'll say on that note, thanks for watching, and I'll see you again next time.